on to the escalating tensions in West Asia. Israeli airstrikes pounded multiple military sites across Syria, including a key airport, reportedly leaving at least 13 people dead. In a post on X, Israel's military confirmed it targeted strategic military installations along with additional infrastructure. In fact, the IDF said the strikes were aimed at dismantling remaining military capabilities and removing potential threats. The Syrian Foreign Ministry condemned the attack. In a post on X, the ministry said that Israel struck 5 locations across Syria within a 30-minute window, adding that the strikes led to quote-unquote near total destruction at the Hama military airport, injuring dozens of civilians and soldiers. As you see in these visuals, fighter jets, military vehicles, various types of ammunition lie damaged or completely destroyed at the Hama airbase. Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, said that Israeli airstrikes near the airports in a T4 base, Hama and the Damascus area, in his words, served as a warning for the government to stop allowing hostile forces into Syria. Syria's state-run Sana news agency reported that Israeli shelling in the southern province of Daraa reportedly killed 9 civilians and injured several others. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights identified the victims as local fighters who took up arms following an Israeli incursion. The IDF stated its forces carried out operations in Daraa province, seizing weapons and destroying enemy infrastructure. And an IDF spokesperson further emphasized that future military actions will continue if necessary. Now, this is the aftermath of the Israeli strikes near the Baraza Scientific Research Center in Damascus. At least one building was completely destroyed in the overnight Israeli airstrikes. And Israel's military campaign against Syria has intensified ever since HTS toppled former President Bashar al-Assad in November. A month later, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered troops into the previously demilitarized UN buffer zone along the 1974 armistice line on the Golan Heights. And by February, Netanyahu demanded complete demilitarization of southern Syria, stating that his government will not tolerate HTS-led forces operating near Israel's borders. Now, it's important to note here that the conflict between Israel and Syria is not just between the two countries. In fact, Israel is significantly concerned about the growing presence of Turkey in Syria, with an Israeli government committee in January cautioning Netanyahu that the Syrian-Turkey alliance could be a greater danger to Israel than even the one posed by Iran. Says a lot. In the latest such development, Israel's foreign minister has said that Turkey is doing its utmost to convert Syria into a Turkish protectorate.
With regard to Syria, we indeed are worried by Turkish. They are doing their utmost to have Syria as a Turkish protectorate.
And with no signs of de-escalation, tensions in West Asia continue to mount. And the question still is, how far and in which direction will this conflict really head? Our next story is about Kirill Dmitriev, a key Kremlin negotiator and a close ally of the Russian President Vladimir Putin, is in Washington for talks with the Donald Trump administration for possible breakthroughs in Russia's talks with the United States on Ukraine. In fact, Dmitriev is no ordinary envoy, one with multiple credentials to his name, in fact, like prestigious academic degrees from institutions like the Stanford University as well as the Harvard Business School. He's also the senior-most Russian official to visit the U.S. since Moscow invaded Ukraine in 2022. Dmitriev, who has been appointed by the Russian president as Special Investment and International Economic Envoy in February, now has been sent to handle an issue as sensitive as the Ukraine war and negotiate the terms with the big wigs of the Donald Trump team, including U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, a close Trump ally and a key figure in efforts to secure an agreement to end the war in Ukraine. Over the years, Dmitriev has positioned himself as someone the Trump administration can successfully engage with for business, and to handle something as critical as the Russia-US talks, he is perhaps Putin's best bet. Witkoff's meeting with Dmitriev also comes after Trump recently vented frustration, saying the Russian president is not complying with the terms proposed by America to end the war in Ukraine. He even threatened secondary tariffs on buyers of Russian oil should Putin refuse a ceasefire with Ukraine. Therefore, the current talks between the Trump administration and Dmitriev marking a clear effort to smooth over the tensions between the two sides, but it might just be far from easy. In the latest, Dmitriev said that unidentified forces were trying to sow tension between Russia and the United States. Taking to messaging app Telegram, he said, and I'm quoting, "Today, numerous forces interested in maintaining tension stand in the way of restoring constructive cooperation. These forces are deliberately distorting Russia's position, trying to disrupt any steps towards dialogue, sparing neither money nor resources for this," quote unquote. Dmitriev's concerns are not unfounded, especially when Russia is ready to move on and extend a cooperative hand towards the US in form of important projects in the pipeline, like a joint multi-billion-dollar deal on rare earth minerals and cooperation on energy exploration and shipping routes in the Arctic. And amid all of this, the Ukraine issue serves as the biggest bone of contention, it seems.
Российская сторона продолжает придерживаться этого моратория. Нарушение Киевом этого моратория, точнее, по сути, неприсоединение Киева к этому мораторию продолжается. Как уже было отмечено, мы это положение дел доводим до сведения американцев.
Our next story is about an all-girls trip. No ordinary one at that. What's the destination, you ask? Beyond planet Earth. You heard that right. It's an all-female crew gearing up for a historic space mission. Let's spill the beans and tell you more about the mission and who all are going to be a part. Well, the countdown is already on. Just days to go. The April 14 launch will see singing sensation Katy Perry blasting off to space. This will be on a Blue Origin rocket. Who all will be accompanying her? Bezos-owned Blue Origin earlier in a statement had said pop star Katy Perry and journalist Gayle King, Lauren Sanchez, who is also billionaire Jeff Bezos' fiancée, will be blasting off into space. And the rest of the crew? Aisha Bowie, bioastronautics research scientist and civil rights activist Amanda Nugin, film producer Kieran Flynn. This will mark the first all-female flight crew in decades. That's how historic it is. The rocket will carry the crew to the Kármán line, the internationally recognized boundary of space. The passengers will experience a few minutes of microgravity before returning to planet Earth via parachute-assisted landing in the West Texas desert. The flight will reportedly reach a height of about 65 miles above Earth. In fact, they have given their first interview together as a crew, telling Elle about how they are preparing for that crucial flight. Among other aspects, for example, King has told Elle that she is starting to meditate to help her. There's obviously a lot of preparation involved, including getting used to the feeling of weightlessness and deciding what to take along for that mission, which of course has a limit, reportedly a 3-pound weight limit per passenger. And by the way, speaking to Elle, the crew spoke about how 2 phrases they can rely on if they feel uncomfortable. What are these? Time out and I will not fly. Also, the crew told Elle that they plan to be glamorous in space, with singer Katy Perry saying space is going to finally be glam, quote unquote. Remember, Jeff Bezos' space company aims to rival SpaceX in the satellite launch business, and it's a pretty intense contest at that. For now, all eyes are on this historic all-women mission. Shifting focus now to the United States. Weeks after US President Donald Trump delayed a ban of the Chinese-owned video sharing app TikTok has returned to Apple and Google's US app stores and can be downloaded by millions of American users who will be able to update the app again. However, with the TikTok ban deadline, which was set for April 5 looming, there are a lot of question marks about what lies ahead. The White House is currently considering a deal to work out the app's legal hassles. Back in January, the app temporarily went dark, and the options before its owner, ByteDance, were laid out loud and clear. Either sell it to a non-Chinese buyer or face a ban in America. Due to concerns over national security, TikTok has been charged with a serious offense of sharing US user data, a charge it categorically denied. And on the 20th of January, Donald Trump signed an executive order delaying the law's enforcement by 75 days. And since then, TikTok has been struggling to find a buyer, reportedly, even as Trump seems to be reconsidering to extend the 75-day delay. He is positive that a buyer will be found. Listen in.
Will you extend, if a TikTok deal is not made on the timeline you gave, will you extend that?
Probably, yeah.
You will?
Probably. I think, look, we have a lot of interest in TikTok. And China is going to play a role. And so hopefully China will approve of the deal. But they're going to play a role. But we have a lot of interest in TikTok.
How long will you extend it and how close are you to a deal?
Well, we'll see. But if I need, right now we have at least another month. So we don't need an extension. But if I needed an extension, I'd probably get it extended.
And with the April 5 deadline nearing, bidders for the social media site are piling up, among which is popular e-commerce brand Amazon, which has reportedly put in a last-minute bid to acquire all of TikTok. The bid apparently came via an offer letter addressed to Vice President J.D. Vance and Howard Lutnick, the U.S. Commerce Secretary. It's not clear at this point how seriously Amazon's bid is being taken, but it's not just Amazon. Earlier reports emerged that TikTok could be acquired by none other than Tesla CEO Elon Musk, after Trump suggested that he was open to Musk buying the ByteDance-owned application if he wanted to do so. However, Musk refuted these reports, saying that he was not interested in the application, adding that he does not use the short video app personally and was not familiar with the app's format, reportedly. This by no means discards the app's immense popularity world over, despite it cooking up several controversies that prompted many countries from banning its operations, including India. As of March 2025, TikTok has over 1.58 billion monthly active users, with its largest audience base in the US with over 135 million users. As part of its current standing, according to a report by the Financial Times, the White House came close to approving a plan that would allow a group of investors to buy a stake in TikTok's US operations, but with no decisive mandate as of now. TikTok's future hangs in the air. So the question is, can TikTok be saved from a ban, or will it meet its end should it fail to find a buyer within the stipulated deadline? Only time will tell.